Podcasting from the Brooklyn Navy Yard section in Brooklyn, New York. This is the Brooklyn Baritone Podcast. Good morning, everyone. It's usually morning when I'm producing these productions and podcasts. But whenever you choose to join me, morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, late at night, it doesn't matter. I always appreciate the likes, the looks, the listens, and of course I'd appreciate you hitting that subscribe and notification bell on my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone. Do that with no pressure, but of course I would like the algorithm to swing in my favor. So many times I'm hearing online, offline, with personal conversations I've heard of people had about what's wrong with men, what's wrong with women. Well, you already know what my stance is, but just in case anyone doesn't remember, or if you need some help in that direction, men and women have definitely lost their places just for themselves and with each other. Now, I usually like to see that men, myself included, are what's needed for a structure. Men who know what their purpose is, men who know what to do, men who know how to help others. That is what's needed for a strong foundation. In order for a proper society as a whole, we're going to need strong men to be that foundation in the home. You see, once you can have a man and a woman and they have a child, and if the man is there in a proper manner to, yes, of course, provide, protect, but to also help guide, to also help build that, be that foundation that's needed for that household to thrive properly, not just paying for the bills. And that's where many people just limit. A lot of men limit themselves to that. You have to learn how to help others learn, help your child learn. Your wife is there to help achieve that, to hold all that together. The unfortunate part is we've allowed society to attack men. We've allowed society to compromise what men are about, what men are supposed to be. You see, one of the worst things that can happen to a man is having some form of sexual immorality planted in them, where it's like the norm. This happens by many ways. There's a lot of young men who were sexually abused when they were younger. There are many young men that get exposed to that, mainly from around peer pressure, from being around certain peers, being around certain situations that they shouldn't be around. Could be from school, could be their friends, could be family members. That's one of the most devastating things that can happen to a man, because what that does, it implants the seed of just doing what you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it. It's one of the first things, because now you have something in you that doesn't really have a proper respect and appreciation for that whole process of having a sexual, proper, intimate relationship with your partner. And it's not supposed to be you're just slinging meat all over the place. You're supposed to actually have a mindset to keep it very valuable to you. And at the same time, we don't understand the implications of, people call it soul ties. We leave a piece of ourselves. We expose one of the most vulnerable parts of ourselves, literally and even figuratively, to someone else. And if you don't have that proper reciprocity, or have that time invested where you know this is going to be the one, this is going to be the person that I'm going to spend time with, my life with, build my life with this person, then you're leaving yourselves all over the place, and you're implanting many different experiences in your life that you don't need. That's going to be more dead weight from you. That's going to be a part of you cut out that you may never recover from, or you have to spend a lot of time putting that piece back that was gone. So the more experiences you have in that manner, the more holes you're going to have inside of you. That's just one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is thinking that we just got to go and just do and conquer. It's good to be good at something. It's fantastic when you can be successful at something that you are good at, even talented at. At the same time, we get tied up in the notion of just getting money, hustle, no days off. Well, I hear that term and I understand it to a very much high extent. At the same time, we're not supposed to just be working and working and working, especially just for money. That's why our Creator had the infinite wisdom to give us Sabbath. People may feel like, oh, it's only for certain people, only for Adventists, or it's only for the Jews, or whatever. It's only for a certain time back in history. No, because we will work ourselves to the bone trying to get more money, trying to get a higher status, trying to get whatever, and work ourselves to the bone. I've seen it many times before. I had that mindset for a while too. We have to have that time off to disconnect from everything that's taking from us and replenish our mind, replenish our body, replenish our spiritual being. And many of us don't have that spiritual strength. We just go off of what the world is showing us. So it's good to hustle, but not just for money. We have to get that good steward mindset. I'm talking about that for the past few podcasts. Not just do for self. You have to build yourself up because you don't really have anything for yourself in any way, shape, or form. Could be skill set, could be money, could be anything tangible. You have to build yourself up because you don't have yourself built up. You can't help anybody else in any way, shape, or form. That's true. But you have to have a selfless mindset, not just selfish. That one term that I said before in the past from that James Brown song, I got mine, don't worry about his. It's all good for certain people when they got theirs. You got yours, I got mine, it's all good. Oh, you don't have yours? Oh, well, I got mine. Too bad, too sad. When I see things like, soup kitchens and actual churches or other organizations that barely have any donations, but yet we have all this money all over the place. Where's the leadership from that? Where's the leadership from the men who's out there hustling, who's out there doing it? I get it, you're getting yours, but you have to remember to reach back in any way, shape, or form to help people up the way you possibly can. It could be through your money. It could be through your time. It could be through your experiences. It could be through your words. You have to remember to go back and reach back to pull people up with you. We have to understand, we have to stop the cycle. Just like with any problems that we have in this world, we have to identify it, then we have to have a proper course of action. That goes with any problem. I could say the same for racism. I could say the same thing for education system. I could say the same thing for all types of moral issues that we have. The thing with men, we have to understand, we have to be protected. Men have to protect the women, but who's protecting the men? Because I remember growing up, America is very hypersexualized. That's, like I said, the first thing that I said, that's one of the first things to destroy a man, especially when he's young. When you're around all this stuff and you have women and sisters moving in a certain manner, doing what they want to do, helping entice, helping to break down more. I'm focusing on getting that cat. I'm focusing on the wrong things. I'm not focusing on developing myself. So when I or other fellow men grow up and we're not fully developed in the way we should be, in our skills, in our finances, in our presence, to be a strong foundation for a community, for our homes, then you look at the men like, oh, you men are the problem. Well, we have to look at as a whole, how are we raising our men? It's an opportunity to reflect and look at what we're doing to ourselves. It's an opportunity to look to see what we have allowed to happen. And then once you get messed up in the game, people look at you like you're the problem. That's exactly what the accuser does. That's why they call the adversary the accuser. He'll set you up, and then once you fall and stumble from being set up, he'll point and look at you like, look at this person. This person's a loser. This person's a clown. Look what they're doing. The problems in your life, that's your problems. It all comes down to free will, but what kind of examples, what kind of influences has that person had? Now, I know it's kind of vague what I was saying, but that's basically the meat and potatoes of what our problems are. We have to identify what's causing our men to not be as strong and stable. And I just gave at least two good, strong examples of why so many men struggle from youth to manhood. Because a lot of men are, myself included, looking to repair and undo what was done while we were younger, spent our lives in our teens, 20s, 30s, living a certain way, then you start to get a little bit more understanding and discernment of the world, and you want to start to repair it. The best we could do is help out along and understand everyone has a struggle. They have to be willing, I have to be willing, you have to be willing to do it, but that's one of the biggest things. We have to look at what we allowed societal to happen. Not every person has that strength and know-how, even support system, to pull themselves up properly. That's all I gotta say. Went on a little bit longer than I wanted to. You wanna look at more of my content, check out my website at brooklynbaritone.com. Check out some of my merch on there too, please. You could also check out more of my video content on my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone. I'm also found on LinkedIn under Corey Ashley. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. You can catch the audio versions of these podcasts on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music under Podcasts, and other various podcast platforms. I broadcast on local Brooklyn cable television 4 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Verizon, Optimum, RCN, and Spectrum. Thank you guys for listening and enduring this. Have a blessed day, have a blessed week, walk good. You will hear from me next week. I'm out.